Today was a very interesting day. I had my first ever taekwondo competition, which I got knocked out first round. But to my credit, I did win one round in the match, and the guy I was playing ended up getting a silver medal. So to my credit, I think I did okay. But then after, I left my AirPods case on the train, and then I was super annoyed. And then I went into Chinatown, and someone nicked my phone. So now I don't know, man. I was just so tired after the competition, I think. And I got like 5 or 6 hours of sleep last night. And also, taekwondo trousers, they don't have pockets. And I'm normally used to putting everything in my pockets. So I had to leave it in my coat this time. So I think that's why I lost stuff, because I was tired and I was using unusual pockets. But today I wanted to talk about something, because I've been re-listening to the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, because I met this guy, like this kid, when I do go to calisthenics. He's always there, and he is like very into self-development. So I was like, hey, you should read that book. And then I was like, why don't I listen to it as well, and then we can talk about it together. And in the intro, it was talking about like being rather than doing. So what does that mean? Or what do I think that means? I think it means like, instead of trying to prove to the world, or like trying to like show the world you are something, which is doing, rather you're so like you're so confident in your identity, and you realize you don't have to prove anyone to anything apart from God, and that is being. I think being is when you decide to only prove stuff to God, and doing is when you try and prove stuff to the world / people. And it's so interesting because doing is like such an insecure approach to life. For example, everyone knows that basic psychology of bullies is that people say that bullies are like super insecure, so then they have to like admit their strength onto other people to try and kind of give the impression that they're strong. And that's like doing strength. Whereas true strength would be like, you're so confident that you're strong, you don't have to show anyone anything. Like you just walk in like absolute confidence and knowing that you're like strong, and people can feel that energy, like people can feel that vibe. And it really comes down to deciding who your audience is. If your audience is God, then like it's so easy to like become being, and that makes you so powerful as a human. And you know what's interesting? I talk about bullies being in the state of doing, but do you know who else is in the state of doing? Like religious people, Pharisees. They think that they have to like be something, as in they have to like change their like personality, and that's the spirit of religion. Like they think they have to like act a certain way and talk a certain way, and do things a certain way, to be like seemingly holy. Whereas true holiness is like you don't even know, because you're just so in love with God. And it's like in the Bible where Jesus is like, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. I think that is basically him describing like the state of being. So for example, I think in that analogy he was talking about giving to the homeless or like something like that. But let's say he was talking about giving to the homeless. I can't quite remember. It would be like it's so ingrained into your identity that you don't even kind of realize you're doing something good. You're just doing what like doing what you want to do. Whereas maybe a religious guy would be like, oh dang, like I'm gonna feel super good about myself if I, give some money to the homeless because I know that's what Jesus would want me to do, and then I can act all holy and stuff. Not to say that you can't feel good about yourself about giving to the homeless, but like it's like they intentionally do it and it's not ingrained in that as part of their identity. And so I don't know, but like I don't know, like obviously that's not a bad thing, but I don't think it's God's way, and God's way is the best way. And I think that the fake it till you make it is very true when we're talking about doing versus being, because sometimes you have to do in order to be, like first. Like if you want to, I don't know, like if you want to become funnier, for example, well, this is what I've realized. If I watch comedians and then I kind of like copy them, I copy like the way they talk, like the way they pause, kind of like the way they think and stuff, I become more funnier. But that's, I don't know if that's doing what people, but like the point is, sometimes you have to fake it till you make it. And so I think that's the only scenario where doing is appropriate, when you know that it's not for the sake of doing, but it's to get to the end goal of being. And so I think that's why church isn't the worst idea, because sometimes people need to go to church to kind of understand like the Bible, I guess. But then like after you get sucked into the spirit of religion, that's not good. But like if you're going to church to, like, thing is, if you people genuinely love God and are seeking God, nothing can go wrong. And like honestly, this isn't even advice. Like I don't really see how this is applicable. It's just interesting observations, personal observations of the world. And yeah, I think that the most powerful people live in a state of like divine confidence and in a state of just like knowing who they are, whereas insecure people try to look strong by trying to like change their outer person to the world. And like I said, this whole thing boils down to, who are you trying to please, God or the world? If you're trying to please God, then everything you do will be, if you're trying to please God, then the things that please God are like in your heart, and that changes your character and that changes your state of being, and it makes you a better person. And that's kind of the whole point of following Jesus, I guess. Yeah.